Hello everybody, Milky Way Matthew here. You might notice that I am not by my Christmas tree. That is because I am in my car because it's the Peter Monn vlog challenge. So you have to vlog from your car. So I decided that I would vlog from my car tonight because today is day 7. So that means that I've been doing this vlog challenge for a week now. Tomorrow will start my second week of 2 weeks. And yeah, I am feeling like it is a challenge. At first I thought, okay, I got this. And then after yesterday, I was like, do I? Do I though? One of my BFFs forever, Aaron, commented on maybe my first video, and he was like, yeah, this is a hard challenge. And I thought he was being sarcastic. And now I'm wondering if he wasn't, because it actually is, it's difficult when you're, living a life and trying to also, make a video every day. I guess it would be easier if my videos weren't so long, but I don't know. If I have something interesting to talk about, it's just nice. And Peter, Peter's videos, I haven't come close to being as long as some of Peter's videos, so yeah. Update. I'm not driving, because as you might remember, my car is not super reliable right now. So I'm actually sitting in my garage in the winter in my car. Thanks a lot, Michael, for nominating me for this challenge where I have to be in my car in the middle of winter. I can't run my car. I guess I could have driven my car out of the garage. But I don't want to waste gas. I don't want to, put those fumes into the air for no reason. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm pretty cold. I will say, I have to have my, the electric part of my car on so I have light. So I also turned on my seat warmer. Funny story, in the car that I had before this, it was an old Bonneville, and in the console in the middle were the switches where you could turn on the seat warmers, and those seats got hot. This was like a really old car from, I don't even know what year. It was super old. Maybe could it have been the 80s? I don't know. It was like a very old car. Not that that's old for a car. It's not old for, humans or some animals or, trees. But anyway, Aaron, that I just mentioned, if you're watching this, whenever we would be in my car, especially when it was warm out, he would play this prank on me that every time he would turn on my seat warmer. And I wouldn't know, and I would just be like, man, I'm getting hot. And then I would realize Aaron turned on my seat warmer again. It got me every time. Never once was I like, my seat warmer's on. I was always just like, it's hot. So that's a great prank. If you have, take advantage of that. If you're driving an old Bonneville and you got that console in the middle with the seat warmers, you just flip that on. It's hilarious. Watch your friend, your loved one, just start sweating. Yeah, he thought it was funny. It was. Miss that guy. Miss that car too, actually. I liked that car. It was a very, very big car though, and I'm sure it got terrible gas mileage. But yeah, so in my garage, in my car, I'm cold. I've got on my winter coat and my scarf to keep me warm, and my Peter Monn vlog challenge hat. But I gotta kind of keep it back so you can see my face. So let me tell you a little bit about today. Today I worked both my jobs, and so I had some prep work I had to do before I went to my first job. So I started that at 7:30. Prepped till about 9. Then I had some time to make a little breakfast. Oh, my light's going off. How funny is that? Made a little breakfast. I had 2 scrambled eggs and a croissant. I was inspired when Chris and Kirsten, my friends, on their vlog Always Us, they went to their local bakery and they got those chocolate croissants. And anyway, I was going in one town over. I was going to park along the street because I had to go in and get something. And I realized I was parking right in front of a bakery that I had never been into that I've heard great things about. So I went in. It was just the name of the store. It was the one lady there that the store's named after. And she was like, "Oh, I said I'd never been in before. How's it going?" I was chatting with her. She was super, super nice, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you came in, but you need to come back another day because this is like the first day of the week that I'm open, so we don't have as much stuff baked." So it was basically like some donuts, some croissants, some macarons, some like brownie sort of looking things, but it all looked amazing. So I got croissants. I got regular just butter croissants, and then I got glazed croissants, which I didn't. She's like, yeah, it's kind of like a glazed donut. They make it like they take a croissant and then they do what they would do to a donut, which I think then what she's saying is it means it's deep fried and then glazed, which probably really bad for you. But I just had one. It was good. So this morning I had a croissant with strawberry jam. I love jam. I think I talked about that earlier this week. So I had some strawberry jam on my croissant and a couple scrambled eggs. Then I went to work, and I was there till 5 o'clock, and I stayed a few minutes late because at my work, okay, this kind of like sounds weird unless you know what my job is, but maybe I'll talk about that some other day. Anyway, at my work, we have a VR headset, and it's used in, like, we use it for work, anyway, long story. But we hadn't used it in like a year, mostly because of the pandemic. And today we were like, I wonder if it still even works. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so it's an Oculus. Which one is it? It's whichever of the Oculus's Quest or Rift. It's whichever Oculus doesn't need the computer, which I was super impressed with. I don't know much about video games. I don't know a ton about VR. I led us to that one. I requested that one be purchased for us because I knew that it had a Star Wars game that was coming out. So that was like a very nice thing that some of my coworkers followed up on and did research and said, yes, this would be a good one for us. So anyway, have been immensely impressed with it. We were like, does it even work? Hasn't been turned on in a year. My coworker, okay, so you have two controllers. If you've never done it before, you have two remotes. And it's very, very, like, natural. Like, as soon as you put them in your hands, you just, like, it feels normal. And in a lot of games, when you're looking, you don't see the controllers, you see hands. And so when you, like, squeeze something, it shows you the hand squeezing. So, like, there's a point, like, when you're playing Star Wars and you're, like, force gripping something, you forget that you have a controller in your hand. It just, like, because you're seeing the gloves there in the VR. And so it's very natural. Well, okay, so we were worried it wasn't even going to work. She turns it on. She goes into the menu and she goes, wait, I'm not holding the controllers. And she looked down and she screamed. And we're like, what? She's like, guys, there was an update and your hands show up now. So there are cameras. Also, like, here's the headset. There's like cameras all around, so that if you step outside of the bounds that you set up, it'll show you what you're seeing. And they have now done this update where those cameras track your hands, and then they show you VR hands. So you can, like, use your hands to push buttons and do things, and you, like, pinch. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. It doesn't seem like many games have that incorporated yet, but no, it's only a matter of time. Like, oh, man. So we were freaking out over that. And the reason that, like, we got it out today, because we were wondering, is it working? And what motivated that was because my coworker who loves dinosaurs saw that they, like, Jurassic Park has released this, or Jurassic World or something, I don't know, released like a stand next to a dinosaur sort of experience. And so we tried that, and my coworker, all of the three of us let's see, I saw there was three of us at the time, and a fourth coworker did it. All four of us that did it at that time were just, like, blown away. A few of us cried out. Like, it was just my one coworker who loves dinosaurs. She cried. It was beautiful. It was a very touching experience. VR is amazing. I had a coworker that came in later that did it, and it was her first time doing VR, and she just kind of was like, yeah, that's cool. And we were all like, wow, you are so much, like, cooler and more chill than we are. We were freaking out, and it was very, very funny. So anyway, so I stayed a little late at work so I could experience that. at the end. And then I came home and got ready for my other job and spent some time prepping for that. And that wasn't long, maybe like half hour of prep, and then just like an hour or so of work, online meeting. So that was really good, and it was good moments of connection. I will say at work today, in the afternoon, I was sitting at my computer doing my work, and I just realized I was feeling very sad. I don't yet really know why, but yeah, I was just feeling sad today. So how are you feeling? Have you checked in with yourself? So I was intentional, not to like toot my own horn here, but just to say, I'm trying to make good choices instead of just like spiraling down a sadness hole. When I got home, and I tried to be intentional to take some time to be quiet and to be still and to center myself, and that, and then the relationships with people in this meeting definitely made me grateful and brought me a lot of joy. So yeah, I still felt sad today, and that's okay, and I don't know why, and I'm okay with that right now. Yeah, so how are you doing? Let me know in the comments. Sometimes, and it's Wednesday, people, so yeah, it's Wednesday, December, wait, let's see. Oh, 6 was Sunday, 7 Monday, 8, oh, it's 9th. It's the 9th? December 9th. Is that right? Oh, yeah, because Friday's the 11th. Oh, wow, Friday's the 11th. You know what that means? I know we're all thinking it. Let's say it at the same time. High School Musical, the series, the holiday special. Doesn't that feel good to just say out loud? Yeah. I wonder what I'll be doing Friday night. I'm excited about that. Okay, here's the thing. That would be like, what is it called? Guilty pleasure. I started watching High School Musical, the series when Disney Plus was released. I watched a number of episodes and then kind of like stopped watching. And then one day I just turned it back on, and that's when it started getting really good. And then I just watched the whole rest of the show. I mean, like over a week or whatever. And I was like, that was amazing. I'm watching it again. And I did. And then I finished it a second time, and I said, that was amazing. I'm watching it again. And I watched it a third time, and then I finished it. I was like, that was amazing. I'll probably just watch it one more time. So I watched it 4 times in a row, which I've never done that with a show. I've never done that with a show. And that's kind of embarrassing, I guess. But also, it's okay to love what you love. And I loved it. It just made me feel good. And yeah, so I had a great time. And like, I will say, by the 4th time, I was like doing, cleaning my house, and it was just on. But definitely, it played 4 times in my house, and I eventually was singing along. And so, I've watched the little trailer that they released of them singing Beauty and the Beast countless times. Pumped for whatever that means. I think we all know what that means, though, don't we? And very excited for the holiday special. Although I really I don't know anything about it. I don't know if there's a trailer. I haven't looked. I like being surprised, but I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't actually anticipate watching that Friday. I feel like I'll probably be with friends, so I might watch that maybe late Friday night. I don't know. And are there episodes? Is it just one 20-minute episode? Is it an hour? Is it a 90-minute sort of deal? I don't know what we're talking about. I'm sure all those answers are online, but I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. So, yeah. So that's Friday. But today's the 9th. Why was I talking about that? Oh, because it's Wednesday, and that's this is the point of the week where a lot of us, are feeling it. Although, I feel like my weekend kind of ends on Monday. Like, Monday's the last day of my weekend. So, yesterday was kind of the first day of my work week. So, I'm already kind of feeling it. Maybe that's a bad thing. No, it's just Tuesday and Wednesday are my longest days. Like, Tuesday and Wednesday are super long, and I know that, and that's okay for me to feel tired right now, even though it's only the second day of the work week. Past 2 days, both days worked 2 jobs and worked hard and got a lot done. Yeah, at work today. So I've been trying to. So here's a frustration that I'm experiencing, and I'm trying to decide what the right thing to do is. I guess I feel like part of me says just move on. There are 2 organizations that I've been in contact with to try to schedule something, and with both of them, we got to the point where we were about to set dates, and then they ghosted me. And I think I'm like, wait, what if it's email? Because I know with one of them, at one point, this person was saying that they like were having trouble like with the email or something. I don't know. So here's the thing: I have no ill will towards these people, these 2 organizations. Still love them, still believe in them, still want to work with them. I just feel like the pandemic is working a number on us, and we're all responding differently, and it makes us overwhelmed by things. Like, email is hard. It really is. So I get it. But also I'm like, it's like you're a business. I need a response. So I think the answer is I need to like set a date by which I'll either have, got things worked out, like got an email reply from either of them. And then like if I don't hear from them by that date, I probably just need to move on. But it's disappointing because they were both really awesome to interact with at first, and I was really excited about the opportunities of collaborating with these 2 organizations. And yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Has that ever happened to you that trying to communicate with someone and just never hear back from them, especially like in a work environment? I feel like it is kind of weird. I had a boss when I was in grad school who instilled in me this idea that he required everybody that worked for him and that all the people in the organization that the employees led, he had a 24-hour communication policy that it's your responsibility to reply within 24 hours, even if it was just, hey, I got this, I don't know the answer, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Just to establish a high level of trust with everyone so that we could count on each other. I think that's a great policy, and then of course there's like plenty of room for being kind when people struggle with that or for some have a good reason to not reply. But I definitely feel like or like if you like here's the thing, if you're away from work, don't be checking your email. I don't want you to reply to. I got an email from someone one time it was like very late at night. Clearly they're at home checking their work email. I was like, you did not need to email me. So, I'll keep a tab on the emails that I get when I'm not at work, when I'm not at one of my jobs. But I usually will wait to reply till I'm back in the office. Unless it's time sensitive, If it's like, especially if it's a coworker who's like, hey, I have a question, then obviously I'll just like reply. Unless I'm in the middle of something. But if it's time sensitive, yeah, I'll do. You got to do what you got to do. You want to be good, positive experience to work with. So yeah, so that was me at work. What else? So yeah, I just watched while I ate some dinner. I watched Confession Time. I didn't watch any vlogs yesterday. It was just such a long day. And I watched Mando, and then obviously by the time I vlogged, I was way too tired to be vlogging. And then after that, I was trying to finish reading A Christmas Carol, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, so I completely forgot to watch my vlogs, Puffology and Always Us. So while I ate dinner, I caught up on yesterday's Puffology, and then I watched today's Puffology. And once I'm done vlogging, I'm going to watch yesterday's Always Us and today's Always Us. And I'm pumped for that. That'll be just like such a sweet, fun, warm way to end my day. So A Christmas Carol. Let me talk about that. So I had a book club today. And we read A Christmas Carol. It was the first time I read A Christmas Carol. Obviously, I know the story. I would actually have claimed, and still would, that it's one of my all-time favorite stories, even though I had never read it. Because I had seen, well, first of all, let's just talk about the Muppets Christmas Carol. Ugh. Well, if that's not... Here's the thing. I have this poster of 100 of the greatest films of all time. And I totally agree with the list. Granted, there's a bunch of them on there I haven't seen, but I am aware of them. I know the directors. I know that eventually I'm going to watch them. I think there's something to be said for high art. I think there's something else to be said for, Princess Diaries and the Muppets Christmas Carol getting on some list. It doesn't need to be on the 100 greatest movies of all time, but it needs to be on some list of, yes, this is important. Like, I'm a big fan of Criterion Collection, okay? I purchase from them. I believe in them. At the same time, why is Princess Diaries not in that? Why is a Muppet Christmas Carol not in that? And I get it. No, I totally get it. I know why. Because you have to, keep a standard. But also, Armageddon's in it. So, you see what I'm saying? You're with me. You know what I'm talking about. So, I don't know. It's just what maybe what Criterion, if you're listening, here's what I want from you. Keep doing what you're doing, but then also, can you curate a list of movies that needs to be recognized, not for necessarily being the most artistic thing in the world and the most revered as far as groundbreaking film work, but can you make just a list, curate a list? Well, why am I not doing this? I should just put together a list of 100 movies. That's what I should do. 100 movies you'll never find on any list that you should watch, or that I love. Okay, so Princess Diaries would be on there. Muppet Christmas Carol would be on there. What else would be on there? Moana? Yeah, you better believe it. There's the train. I just heard the train. So, I love A Muppet's Christmas Carol, and I still do, even after reading the book. And I was amazed at how much dialogue from that movie just is lifted right from Dickens. That's amazing. Seen other movies. Used to go every year downtown to Chicago and see A Christmas Carol at the Goodman Theater, and didn't make that last year, which now I'm really bummed out because I was going to go 2 different times, and then I basically just chickened out because I didn't want to take the time, and now I'm can't do that this year. Although they did make the Goodman Theater took their cast and made a 90-minute radio play that's free online, so I'm going to listen to that with my mom at some point, while she's home and I'm at my home, and we got to figure out how to sync up our time and press play or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But we're going to listen to that at the same time. But reading A Christmas Carol, also reading out loud, so that is fun. Here's what I'll observe. I'm gonna say a lot of things about Christmas Carol probably, but one of them is, again, about A Muppet's Christmas Carol. Is that never has a role been so perfectly cast as when Miss Piggy was cast as Mrs. Cratchit. Oh my goodness. Incredible. Let me take a drink. Take a moment. Stay hydrated. Love yourself. Let the water love you. Here's the thing. I love this cup, but when you have the lid on, there's no way to not feel like a Viking with how much water pours down your chin. Can you identify with that? I know you can. Also, it sounds like a huge piece of machinery going into that. You hear that? That's crazy. It's so heavy. That's a good cup. So, I think A Christmas Carol is just a profound literary masterpiece. it is so insightful about humanity, the worst of us, the best of us. For me, I really felt like the theme of the book, my first reading, was about ignorance and chosen ignorance, not just ignorance in general, but specifically chosen ignorance, and the idea of closing our eyes to our fellow human beings. So there's the scene when Scrooge is in his shop at the beginning in the first stave, and these guys come in asking for money for the poor. And Scrooge says, are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, they are. He's like, oh, good. I was worried that they weren't. So the poor better just go there. And this guy says, many of them can't, and many of them would rather die than go there. And Scrooge says this famous line of, if they would rather die, they better do it and decrease the surplus population, which is just such a dark piece of poetry, that line. But then there's a line after that often I think in adaptations gets missed. And he says, besides, I don't know that, meaning I don't know that they don't want to go there. I don't know that they would rather die. And I think that is a profound line, because the retort is, but you could know. You could know that. And this guy says, basically, what he's saying is, if you would open your eyes, you would know that they don't want to go to these places, and that death would be better than the squalor that they would be finding themselves in there. The harsh reality of poverty in that time and place in the world. And then when Marley's ghost comes, basically, also when Fred the nephew comes, he says, like, I don't have, at Christmas I stay busy enough tending to my own business. I don't have time to make, I don't keep myself merry. I don't have time to make idle people merry. Basically, at Christmas I'm busy enough with my own business. I don't need to be putting my nose in other people's business. And then one of the things that Marley says when his ghost comes to Scrooge, he talks about, like, how, he says something like, why do you not, care for these people? Or like, why don't you know, basically, why don't you know? And Scrooge says, well, I keep to myself. I'm tending to my own business, basically. Like, that's what he says. So it's like, Marley's saying, like, here's where my chains came from. I forged them because I wasn't a good human, basically. That's a paraphrase. And Scrooge says, but you were a good man of business. And Marley says, mankind should have been my business. And the idea that I pick up, especially from that scene, which for me, that first stave was probably the most emotional. I teared up, I cried, I also laughed. Really, it was this idea of ignorance and how we become so comfortable with totally shutting off ourselves to the pain and hurt and neediness of others. And, I think that, like, the thing that this story reminds me is that, like, generally I am focused on myself, and generally I'm interested in what is keeping me comfortable and me, like, safe and happy. And things that I perceive as threats against those, I call bad, which is not healthy, which is, like, again, this idea that there are good stressors. There is stress that's good because it causes us to get out of that experience, that spiral of selfishness, and to see a new option and to make a new choice. So yeah, this idea of ignorance. And then in the third stave, which is the Ghost of Christmas Present, he's aging, he's old, and he has those, Scrooge sees, like, the claws, and he's like, oh, I see, there's something weird peeking out from under your robe. And he sees it's two children, basically, right? And they are want and they are ignorance. And there you have, like, the embodiment of ignorance. And I think that's very helpful in seeing that one of Dickens' themes in this book is to talk about how people of means become totally engrossed in themselves and their want, that they have no clue what's going on with others, and how bad life is for other people, which is really insightful. Yeah, I was just listening to someone give a speech, and they were talking about how people who find themselves in wealth need to be very careful not to use their wealth in a way that's harmful of people who are in poverty. And I think that goes right along with what the point of what Dickens is trying to say. And then, in book club, there was so many fascinating insights were brought out in this discussion. And one of the just pieces of information that I wasn't really thinking of, and I would want to know more about this, but someone mentioned this idea that Dickens himself was counting on this book selling to kind of like save him from financial ruin, to being, having to go to the workhouse himself, as it were. So that's really interesting. So I think he really was picking up on something that was going on in his time and place. And one of the questions that was put forth in this book group was, how is the world in this story different than the world now? And someone said, is it? And I think that's a great answer. Like, really? And her point was, has anything really changed? Do people who have positions of means really know what's going on with people? Is there like a crossing of classes? And I don't know. Because it's very uncomfortable. I know that. I think it's uncomfortable for people of means, whatever amount, to be with people way outside of their. I think naturally. I mean, I don't think this is true of everyone. I think we can do better. I think there are moments that we become better, but like naturally, it makes us uncomfortable to be with someone who's far outside of our class. Like, to be with, like, the times that I've interacted with people who are homeless and have literally, nothing, I can feel very uncomfortable. So that made me think of this guy that I got to know a couple years ago during winter time. I was going downtown a lot to Chicago, and there was this guy who was sitting there, and he was asking for money, and so I stopped and I was talking to him, and he had these sores on his leg, and he pulled up his pant leg, and he was showing me these sores, and it was just like his skin was rotting, and that made me really uncomfortable. It was hard to look at. And that's an interesting parallel to the Ghost of Christmas Present pulling up his robe and Scrooge having to look at want and ignorance. And now what I'm kind of just talking through out loud here with you for the first time is, when I look down at Tom's leg, how that is a result of people's want and people's chosen ignorance got him to that point. And I don't know his whole story, and he could have lied to me a lot. But I don't think people choose to put themselves in that situation because they want to be there. If they have chosen it, it's because other choices have been made, not by them, that have led them to that place. That's what I think. And I know I'm not an expert by any means, but I have a hard time believing that that's where Tom wanted to be. In fact, I really do believe, if he was truthful about anything, is that that's not where he wanted to be in life. So yeah, I ended up kind of developing somewhat of a friendship with this guy. I was going very frequently, and I saw him several times. I knew where he would hang out, and I knew where the restaurant he would sleep outside of at night. And then at some point, I kind of stopped going as much, and then I went back and I never saw him, and I have not seen him since. So I think about him think about him sometimes, and I wonder where he is and if he's okay, and I hope so. But that made me uncomfortable. And similarly, there can be a different kind of discomfort being with people who are, inordinately rich. Like, I can feel out of my skin with people who have way more than I do. And that's just an interesting thing that I think is timeless, which is why Dickens' novel has lasted so long and impacted so many generations and continues to. But also, I think he was a man of his time, and it was acute in that time and place. I was reading something written by someone who would have been in a similar... It would have been, in the United Kingdom 50 years prior to him. I don't even know if it was the United Kingdom at that time. I don't know my British history. But near where he would have been, relatively close, 50-ish years earlier, who was saying the same exact thing, saying, you cannot claim ignorance when you are choosing ignorance. I thought that was fascinating, that another person, completely unrelated, as far as I know, I don't know that they ever encountered one another or anything, but like 50 years earlier, was writing the same exact thing. So that's fascinating. So, okay, here was one of the really profound insights that came to us in this book discussion, was about the time. One of my friends who was there asked, she said, of all the times that I've read this or seen it or whatever, the thing that's always confused me is how when Marley's ghost comes, he says each ghost is going to come one night after another. And then that's not how it plays out. Like, they end up all coming in one night. And we were talking about that and trying to make sense of that. And we're talking somewhat about the theme of time. Because one of the resolutions that Scrooge makes after his kind of... Okay, here's what I'm going to say. So, another person, my other friend, so there was only 3 of us there, so it wasn't a big group. My other friend was observing that she finds it kind of unbelievable that Scrooge doesn't know that he's the person who's died. So, spoiler alert, if you don't know, in the last, with the last ghost, the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, the Ghost of the Future, he's seeing all these scenes around the death of this man, and it even comes to the point in the book, which I had not seen like in movies or in theater or anything, where he's standing in front of this man's bed, and he's laying there under a sheet, and he's dead, and he's supposed to go pull the sheet down, but he can't. And that's before he even, goes to the tombstone and sees it as his name or whatever. But my friend was observing that, it's hard to believe that he doesn't know it's him. And my point was, I think that that's his last little bit of clinging to ignorance, chosen ignorance. He knows that he's the one that these scenes are about. He doesn't want to believe it. And so he's doing something in himself where he's choosing not to see what he should be seeing. And I think that is the climax then comes when he finally stops choosing ignorance and chooses to see the reality that his behavior not only has separated from those that he's chosen not to see, but also from himself and from the joy that he might experience with those others that he's chosen not to see. So for me, the climax of that story is him letting go of his ignorance and choosing to see. And when he does, one of the resolutions that he makes, he says, of course, I'll keep Christmas all year long. That's the one we hear a lot. But the thing that he says is, I wish I could remember. I don't have my copy with me. He says, I will let the spirits of Christmas past, present, and future reside within me always. And so what we were discussing was this idea that maybe the reason that Marley says they're going to come on 3 different nights and then they end up coming one night is because Dickens wants us to realize that past, present, and future are not 3 separate things. So this is where it got a little bit heady, and we were kind of giggling our way through this conversation, but it was also super profound, because what we're saying, so then what does it mean to let the spirits of Christmas past, present, and future reside within us always? it means that that we might take a moment here and there to imagine the moment we're living in now ourselves outside of, and that we're looking on in it as if we are looking at our own past, because the truth is our present is our past. And in some sense, and I mean in a true sense, our present is also the future of our past selves. So I think Dickens' point is, do you want to know how to alter the past? Do you want to know how to alter the future? You are living in the past, present, and future always. And right now, making a different choice than you were making before is literally changing your past, present, and future. So, like, doing something different now is the same reality as altering something that hasn't happened and altering something that eventually will be something that had happened. So that was kind of like, what are we saying? But it's so profound. So I think that that's kind of where we landed. You know, obviously I think the best thing is that, you know, maybe there's no answer and it's just kind of a mystery. So, you know, you keep looking into it and seeing something different. But what I see right now is this idea that these three separate nights that then get conflated into one night, it's the message there that Dickens wants to portray, as I see it right now, is your past, present, and future aren't three different things. So do you want to change the past? Change something right now. Do you want to change the future? Change something right now. Which is very inspiring, actually, you know. So live in light of the fact that whatever you're doing right now is your past. Live right now in light that you are living the future. So yeah, that's amazing. It's a incredible story, and what I love about it is it's not long. So like I read half the book within 2.5 hours or something. So it's a very quick read. I could have read it quicker. I read some of the parts over and over again. Specifically, Mrs. Cratchit. Oh my goodness, she was cracking me up. So again, Miss Piggy was a perfect choice. Take another drink here. So what are you reading? Are you reading anything festive for Christmas time? Have you ever read A Christmas Carol? Or just even watched it? If so, let me know in the comments what you think. Respond to anything that I've said. I just went on a really long rant about but I love it, and that will probably be tied for my favorite book of the year, between A Christmas Carol and Looking for Alaska. Which, there's also an interesting theme in Looking for Alaska about time. So that's kind of interesting. What is it? I was watching a John Green Vlogbrothers vlog in which he was talking about someone sent him, this was so cool. I'm like, who thinks of this? People are brilliant. Someone sent him a copy of Looking for Alaska that was alphabetized. So it was all the words in Looking for Alaska, but in alphabetical order. So he said there was just like pages and pages and pages of the word the. And it's like, it starts out with just like a page just full of A's. But he said, like, one of the things he said is that it reminded him that, like, back then he cared about such things as, I guess when he wrote that book, he intentionally put the word remember one more time than the amount of times he put the word forget. Which when he said it, he was kind of saying, like, oh, how childish. I don't care. That's amazing. I'm glad I know that. And here's the thing. I didn't know that in my brain, but I definitely felt that, That's a funny thing to say, but it's true. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not actually driving because I don't like driving. If I never had to drive again, I often fantasize about someday being able to have my friend Aaron be my personal driver. So, Aaron, let me know when you're ready. I can't pay you anything right now, but someday maybe. Yeah. So I really, really, really enjoyed A Christmas Carol. It was a great read. Highly recommend. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. Spoiler alert, my friend Michael over on Puffology today, he told a story about himself when he was 8 at Christmas time. He did something very rascally. And I was just thinking, wow, that's hilarious. And when I was 8, I would never have even dreamt of doing that. If you haven't watched it, maybe I'll link that video down below. It's great. You should watch it. He's sitting at his desk, wrapped up in a blanket, telling the story. It's fantastic. You should watch it. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. But, yeah, I just never would have had the courage to do that. I don't regret that. You know, I was who I was. I still wouldn't do that. I don't think he would do that now. Michael, would you do that still? Do you do that? Do you open? No. There's no way you do. But I'm not surprised that you did. That's very funny. I like that story. That was a great story. I was trying to think if there was any interesting stories of me at Christmas time when I was a kid. I don't really, I can't say that there is. I don't think I ever did anything weird like that. I just remember I would always be the one to wake up earliest in the morning, and I would go around waking up all my siblings and my mom, and yeah, I would want to wake up. Like, as soon as the sun was up, I was wanting to wake up, so, which was probably like, I don't know, 6:30, which is way earlier than I probably was normally getting up, so I just couldn't wait. I remember on Christmas Eve just like laying there and not being able to go to sleep because I was so excited. That's a fun feeling. I had that recently for something, and I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was for the first episode of Mando, like the night before or something. No, I don't think it was that. It was something else. Like the night before, I was just like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't even sleep. I don't remember. Maybe it was just Thanksgiving. I don't know. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? Yeah. And here's, I guess, something else I've been thinking about today. Like last night as I was uploading my video, I was just thinking, wow, that was so bad. And which is an interesting, interesting thing, especially about the vlog challenge, because, like, here's the like, at the end of the day, I still did it, I'm doing the vlog challenge, I'm doing it. Maybe it's not great, that's fine, never set out to be a vlogger, but at least I did it, and that's I guess that's the challenge, is just, like, doing it. Even, like, uploading it even when it's bad. But I just thought it was so bad. And then, that just makes you feel, I guess, ashamed. Not you, obviously. I guess I was feeling then, it's just like, oh man, that's embarrassing. That's so bad. I don't want people to watch that. But, that's life. That's where I was at last night. So that's okay. I gotta learn to accept that. Be kind to myself. So that's always been the hard thing for me, which I think a lot of people would agree with that. But I find it easier to be patient with other people than I am with myself. So yeah, but I will say I'm proud. I think that's what I said in the. You know what? That's true, because I was thinking about that. Even as I was uploading it, like, I think I dedicated the video to everybody who did their best. And that's what I felt like. You know what? I did my best. My best was enough, but boy, not great. So if you watched my video yesterday, wow, good for you. That's true love. Thank you for loving me. If you didn't watch it, that's true love. Thank you for loving yourself enough to say, I do have some standards for content. That's funny. Oh, goodness. Yeah. I want to think of maybe, okay, so I was saying, like, would I ever continue to vlog? I don't know. I don't feel like this is my life's calling or anything. I think it is some people's, and I'm grateful for them. And there's some people I want them to never stop. Well, I don't want Puffology to ever stop vlogging. I don't want Always Us to ever stop vlogging. And I get like, at some point, is every day sustainable? For Vlogmas, yes. After that, that's the thing is like, I was thinking, could I do this once a week? I might be able to. And I thought, what would I do? So I guess my thought right now is I have no commitment to this. I might, in 7 more days, might be done. And this whole Milky Way Matthew experiment might just be 14 videos. And if so, that's beautiful, and I'm thankful for it. It'll be a fun memory of December in 2020. But I guess I was thinking, like, if I did, I would probably just keep, like, I would have, like, a Milky Way Matthew notebook that I would keep with me at all times. And then when I would think, like, when something funny would happen or something interesting, or I just, like, had a thought that I wanted to share, I would just use this as, like, a letter, a weekly letter to anyone who would watch, who I would consider to be my friends. If you're watching this, thank you. So I would just consider it to be a letter to my people. Speaking of which, what do we call people who watch Milky Way Matthew? I don't know. Something to think about in the comments, isn't it? But did you love that little passive-aggressive, begging and pleading for you to, like, come up with some cool name for yourselves? But yeah, so I think I would just, like, I would keep a notebook and then just once a week tell you all the stuff. So that maybe, if it was a 50-minute video, it was 50 minutes of, like, the best stuff of the week, which would be probably better than, an hour every day. Well, I'm going to take another drink here, and I think I'm going to wrap it up for the evening because I can't feel my toes. It's freezing cold. The rest of me is decent. My nose is a little cold, but my feet, I'm not wearing very warm shoes, which I'm now realizing was a mistake. I have my boat shoes on that are, what are these? They're Clark's that I got at Meyer. No. I got these at Costco in Indianapolis when I was visiting Pathology. Let's be real. I need to take this lid off. I can't get enough water to keep my throat dry from me sounding like this. Why didn't I do that sooner? You tell me. What was I thinking? That was bad. I got a huge air bubble. So, this was the Peter Monn Vlog Challenge Day 7. Vlogging in the car. True Peter Monn style. Except it's nothing like his angle. This is my steering wheel. Normally, his camera would be more that way from the side. But I couldn't make that work. So, I have what I have. Thanks for sticking it out. Let me just say, if no one's told you this today, you are loved and you are important and you are worthy of being seen. So my invitation to you today, whether you're watching this at night or in the morning or whatever time or pieces throughout the day, try to make one choice that today. So now I gotta accept this challenge. What am I gonna do? I gotta go think about this. Try to make one choice today in your present that you would make to change your past and your future. Try to live in the present, past, and future. Learn the lesson of Ebenezer Scrooge. But remember that you are worthy of being seen. So open your eyes and your hearts to others. And I know when we're hurt, it's hard to do that. But my invitation to you is to maybe revisit something and consider seeing somebody that you didn't want to see. Look at the situation, and I hope that we're all on a journey of letting go of our ignorance. But again, you are loved and you are worthy of being seen, and you are seen. I know that is true as well. So, I hope you have an amazing day, /night, /whatever time you're watching this. And I will be back tomorrow for day 8. Can you believe it? So hopefully I haven't totally drained my car battery. Good night.